This is Simone.
And this is Katinka.
And you are listening to the Novotech podcast. We live in a time when technology is changing faster than ever before and transforming the way we live and interact with the world. The question is, how do we keep up?
In this podcast, we'll interview real people and certainly hear their tips on how to learn, adapt, and succeed in this ever-changing world of technology. Are you ready?
Hi everyone. I would like to introduce you to our guest, Loida Delgado-Perez. She's a resilient and communicative analytics specialist with 10 years experience in data, insights, and market research, with a focus on tech products. Looking to make a positive impact on consumers' lives with data, embracing change and new data avenues. Her background, or how her path got to where she is now, is a little bit different from the most people I know, and it's like a mixed salad, using her words, but that I'll leave for her to talk about in a second. And also, you'll be able to know more at the show notes, where we'll be putting the link to her portfolio. So, let's welcome Loida. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hi, Simone. Thank you for having me today.
So let's start with what I just mentioned. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got into the tech area.
I am Loida. I work in data analytics and I'm originally from Spain. And my journey in tech was really unplanned. I have a business and marketing and sociology studies. I didn't expect to be able to work with IT professionals or being involved in tech projects. However, after working basically in a short project, I found myself moving from market research and insights to digital and product analytics.
If you don't mind, I would like to hear a little bit more about how you actually got into analytics. So you mentioned a short-term project, but were there any difficulties that you faced and any lessons you took away?
Yeah, when I was at university, my major was in market research, in quantitative market research. After graduating, I started working in the field in market research, online in that case. And I realized that I just wanted to know what was happening with the data that I was delivering to clients. What was the outcome? What was it used for? Was it helping, or it was basically something that it was just going to be filed somewhere and just put there to grab all the dust? So that's the reason why I moved into analytics. And in this case was online marketing analytics. After some time working in the field, I had the opportunity when I moved to Melbourne to participate in a project which was related to redeveloping the online offering, which basically involved creating a new website. That project allowed me to work with team members that they were coming from different areas in an agile setting, where I found myself working with developers, with UXers, with product owners, which is something I didn't do in the past. I thought it was a very rewarding experience, and I learned so much during that time. I truly enjoy the findings from the analysis that I did. Even though it was a short period of time, I thought it was fascinating to understand how users behave on a website. So after that, I had the opportunity to move into a full-time permanent role where I was able to basically hone those skills into the product analytics area. And this is where I am now. Who knows what the future holds?
I think a lot of us are familiar with data analytics. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about what product analytics is. So you know what exactly it means and how is it different from data analytics?
Sure. Well, product analytics focuses on understanding how users engage with technology products that businesses are building. And all of this is so we can improve the customers' experiences, ultimately. The role of a product analyst is to measure, analyze, and communicate what users like or dislike and what leads them to engage, return, or even churn from the product. Product analytics shows businesses what users are really doing, for example, on a website or on an app, and not just what they say they do it, because this is basically what surveys and user interviews normally capture. We all strive to be better than we are. It also addresses some critical questions that they wouldn't normally be answered by data analytics with a marketing background or marketing focus, because it focuses obviously more into the marketing effectiveness. Some examples of product questions are what people are actually using an app for, or what is the uptake of a specific feature, or for example, how many users are getting stuck on a specific funnel. Also, product analysts, as well as doing analytics, they also do experimentation. So they will be defining and testing hypotheses for ways of improving products in what ultimately becomes a positive feedback loop. This is basically a continuous improvement cycle where basically product analysts will be testing things like, if we add icons on a specific page, will that mean that customers are able to find what they're looking for 20% faster? Overall, these insights are used by product managers, development leads, UX designers, and any heads of digital experience. So we can make customer journeys seamless in what ultimately translates into more satisfied users and far more profitable business decisions.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because like you said, it's much easier for people to hear about data analytics and think that everything happens in that space, which is clearly not. There is one company that I worked in the past. I remember that they have these kind of a studio room, sort of, especially set up to bring external users to that room, where the user will be looking into the website and navigating through the company's website. And they have a bunch of cameras in the room to know exactly what's the heat map on the screen, which areas of the screen the user will be looking first. So they wanted to test, not just visual things, but the flow of navigation, etc. Would that be also under the product analytics?
I think that probably what you are referring to is a user testing session with real users. So basically you will be testing a prototype with potential customers, and that session will be recorded, and basically the user will be asked to perform different type of actions on a website in this case, and basically these sessions help to inform what are the improvements that they need to be made into the design of a prototype to basically ultimately make a production live environment that will be released to the public. The product analyst doesn't run the user testing sessions. This is something that is more related to UX researchers for the fact, and it would be equivalent to qualitative research in a marketing research environment. However, the product analyst should be considering that qualitative data that has been recorded from a user testing session and take it into consideration with any quantitative analysis to have ultimately an holistic view of what are the needs and what are the wishes of those users.
Yeah, there'll be the input to the work the product analyst is doing. So definitely, yeah, interesting.
Yes, a product analyst should be considering different data sources, and those data sources can be qualitative or quantitative. Ideally, you consider all of them, all sorts of information.
In that case, you mentioned obviously that you've been working product analytics for the last few years. How do you see the trends in this area? Where do you see the industry going in the next few years?
Yeah, I think product analytics is quickly evolving because there is a high demand of tech products, more now than ever that we're in the middle of a pandemic. I think some key trends to watch out for and that they're currently unfolding are personalization initiatives, predictive analytics with machine learning, the omni-channel approach, so the merge of the in-store experience with the online or digital experience, and also the integration of digital data with any other types of data within the organization.
I'm also curious to what extent you use machine learning and more advanced analytics when you're doing product analytics.
Yes, I had a first experience with machine learning, and it's a field obviously that I would like to carry on developing. I think there are very, very interesting projects that we could be running with machine learning related to digital in this case. My first experience in machine learning was creating a recommender engine for a website, where in this case, the website was a movie website in the style of Netflix. And what the machine learning model was doing was recommending what would be the next movies that you would like, potentially you would like to see based on your previous ratings.
All the changes that have been happening, especially in the last 5 years, with the computational power going just skyrocketing. You have almost anything, any type of machine in front of you with a blink of an eye. Of course, it will be much easier, much quicker to grow compared to how things were done 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. And Katinka, you are the best place here to comment on this field, obviously. My understanding of machine learning is that the statistical concepts have been there for a very long time. I believe they've been there for before the 80s. It's the computational power that is the new kid on the block, I would say, and that is allowing for so many new avenues to explore in data and so many objectives, basically, so many goals to achieve at this right moment.
But it's both, I think, computational power, but also the availability of data, because that has also increased quite a lot in the last few years, for sure.
Yeah, before the problem was that businesses didn't have enough data. Now we have far too much data and we don't know what to do with it.
Now I have a question to you both. Just keeping, this line of thinking that we're just having now, with the easy to use technology, easy to and cheap to store, and the computational power, is there anything that you see that you are missing, or your colleagues are missing, like a new area or a sub area that will be created either because it's really missing or because there's so much done under one name, one term, that you need to start breaking down that area? Is there anything in your experience with your colleagues, etc., that you have a hunch?
From my perspective, I think we still have some obstacles in terms of proving the value of data analytics. When it comes to communicating to non-technical audiences, and I'm thinking here of heads of executive and even the board of a business, I feel that in many cases, there is an understanding that we need to do something with all the data that is available, but at the same time, they don't seem to fully understand why do we need to do something about it, and what is the value, and what are we trying to achieve with it. And therefore, I feel that sometimes the resources are not being invested in the data field. At the same time, I also think that from our side as data professionals, we need to become better at making sure that others understand the value of what we do. And that goes through communication again, and things like, for example, visualization tools, but also storytelling. So I think we need to become better at communicating, at sharing the story that the data is telling us. So we basically can bring those executives on board in projects like machine learning, for example. Katinka, I'm sure that you have seen before what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I think where I see the gap to be is really around maturity. So I see that people still don't trust machine learning, for example, and it's basically because they don't really understand, how models work. But we as data scientists and analysts, we also have to make sure we do a better job in explaining how models work and explaining why they're making predictions the way they're making, and also just in general, really thinking about the ethics involved in making and using these machine learning models.
I am fully agree with what you're saying, Katinka, in terms of the ethics and what are the repercussions, what are the consequences of using data in non-positive ways. I think that's a field that definitely needs to be looked into. And I think that as data professionals, we have the responsibility to make sure that others understand what we do, because obviously it's in our benefit, but it's also on the benefit of the businesses that we work with, the overall community.
Yes. Just because you finished whatever you had to create to deliver. It's to see through and the next steps, what that's going to be used for. Also, it's basically from end to end.
So you mentioned at the beginning that you come from a different background. So you studied business, marketing, sociology. So I'm just curious to understand if you see these are really advantages. So having such a diverse background, it's an advantage in this field.
I would say so, because I think a multidisciplinary background puts into test your critical thinking and creativity more, because basically you are exposed to different areas of study and having to integrate concepts and theories across them. I also believe that a diverse background makes you more adaptable and resilient as a professional, and also breaks those stereotypes that, they've been there for a long while. I think ultimately it improves empathy across business units, and it enhances your transferable skills.
That's really good that you mentioned in terms of, increasing the empathy, especially nowadays with the cross-functional teams. That's more important than ever. But going back to the path, some people might be stuck in what their original plan or dream, for that matter, was, and are afraid to change or to move the course they are on. What would you like to say to them?
Yeah, I think if you have a passion or a dream, I would say just follow it. Just follow your passion and your gut, and not the money or recognition, because deep down those are a byproduct of the former. They will come with it. They will come with your passion or your dream. But if your dream is not as clearly defined, I would say give yourself the permission to explore, discover, and be adventurous. There's this poem that says that all those who wander are not lost, and I think I'm proof of it.
Yeah, and a successful one, I would say.
And following up on that, so if someone wants to move into the tech industry, what can they do to really land that first job? Do you have recommendations on what kind of training they can do, or can you recommend any tools or technology that they can start implementing tomorrow?
Yes, definitely. The most successful product analysts I've met have experience in both marketing analytics and product development at different degrees. This means that the recipe for success includes coding skills in languages like SQL, Python, or R, visualization skills like Tableau, Power BI, Looker, or even Data Studio. Also knowledge of digital tools like Google Analytics or Kissmetrics, tag management tools like Google Tag Manager or Adobe, and JavaScript coding for data layer tracking, and also statistical knowledge, which is very important for machine learning and experimentation. However, you don't need them all to make a start or to get a first opportunity in the field. I would recommend building on your core expertise step by step and creating a portfolio of case studies, mockups, and others to showcase your skills.
Which brings me to my next question. So, of course, there's no question that the technical skills are necessary, are good in our tech careers. However, what would you say about soft skills or non-technical skills that you believe are important to, not just to succeed, but to thrive in today's highly competitive world? Do you have some tips, recommendations for those who want to start or move into a career?
I think that's a very good question, Simone. In my opinion, communication skills are key to ensure that your findings are being understood by technical, but even more importantly, by non-technical audiences. Also, collaboration and an understanding of agile ways of working are important, because you'll be very likely working in a cross-functional team or a setting, which is driven by delivering value in increments. Other than that, being open-minded and flexible and embracing research will take you a long way. There are other important non-technical skills like problem solving, critical thinking, attention to detail, etc. But I think the ones mentioned before are sometimes overlooked.
And how do you make sure that you keep up with new trends in technology? And is there anything specific you want to learn next?
Well, I am a researcher at heart, so to me, reading articles, projects, blogs online helps me understand what to expect and where to invest efforts. Other than that, I enjoy connecting with other professionals in any setting, let it be at work, a networking event, or over a casual drink. Other than that, I'm looking forward to learn some JavaScript coding at the moment.
We've been talking about, technical and non-technical skills, how to learn, etc. So do you have a mentor, or do you think that's important to have one? And what to do when you don't have one?
Of course, I've been very lucky to have several mentors over time, in most of the cases unofficially. They've been there for me when I needed guidance, and cannot be more grateful and thankful overall for their support. A mentor can be anyone that you admire, that you think it gives good advice, good guidance, and becomes your trusted advisor, really. Mentors have a positive impact in you as a professional and as a person, so I really think it makes a difference to look up to someone. This person can be your peer, your manager, your stakeholder, or even someone else at your workplace, like a friend or a relative. And they don't have to be mentoring you for a long period of time. It could be just a briefly touch point. Ultimately, I think it's about having the support and guidance needed from someone else you respect and admire to make you thrive. I don't think it has to be necessarily a formal or official role, and I'm really hoping that others come across the mentor sooner or later.
You also mentioned connecting with peers and networking. I just wanted to ask how important you think networking is, and how do you network?
Yeah, I think networking is essential because it allows you to connect with other professionals in your field, to share ideas, projects, and best practices, which ultimately makes you both grow. However, my understanding of networking is not about making contacts, and more about really connecting with others by sharing experiences and journeys with no expectation. If over time that relationship leads to being able to help each other, great. But if it doesn't, that's fine too. I am pleased to have crossed paths and get to know you. I normally attend networking events, conferences, etc. But I also embrace any opportunity to connect with others in more informal settings, like with friends, over a barbecue, or even at the gym.
So of course, you mentioned that's important, of course, to do networking, and then you like to share experience and journeys with others alike. And is there any particular meetup that you go, or you used to go, that you could refer people to?
Yes, the Web Analytics Meetup that happens on Wednesdays in Melbourne, I think is a very good forum for anyone working in the digital space. You know, what happens is that it's been a while that I don't go to meetups. I used to go quite a lot in New Zealand, and I had a period where I was very active meetup-wise. I was going to basically SQL meetups, analytics, digital analytics meetups, machine learning, and then basically find myself that I go from periods of a lot of activity and then drop, and then I come back. It's never a stable line, I would say.
So how does the Melbourne and the New Zealand meetup scene compare, in your opinion?
I think they're different. Yeah, I thought that they were very well organized, very well run, and it was really good to, again, catch up with other professionals in the field and have good conversations. It's always nice to have pizza around and something to drink as well. I think the meetups here in Melbourne are fantastic as well. And the Web Analytics one on Wednesdays is outstanding.
It's always good to know, but you're right, because even if you're not organizing, if only you are to attend, we still need to put time aside.
Exactly. I think making a conscious effort for networking takes time and effort, and time and effort that we sometimes don't have. And this is why I was saying that I feel that perhaps I'm more of an unplanned or unofficial networker, where I find myself talking and having chats and discussions with other professionals in very different environments and settings that I haven't planned in advance. I think a good networking opportunity happens anytime, anywhere. You don't have to pursue it consciously, or you don't have to put it in your calendar.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just being open to these opportunities and being a bit spontaneous about it.
Yep.
Knowing what you know now, right? If you could go back in time to your earlier version, what would you tell yourself to do different, if something?
Ooh, this is an interesting question. I guess I would tell my young me to stop overthinking my career choices so much and questioning my fit because of having a different background to others, and also to embrace the challenges and opportunities that comes with my professional life more.
Yeah, I believe that we are usually our worst enemies in terms of putting the bar too high for ourselves. So definitely, yeah.
So if people want to connect with you, what is the best place to find you? What social media channels?
Yeah, so I am available on LinkedIn and on email. So feel free to reach out.
Thanks for everything, for your time, especially for your story. And I knew that you'd have interesting things to share.
That's fine, my pleasure. Thank you for letting me participate.
Thank you, Loida. My main takeaways in this episode were the following. Product analytics is about how users engage with technology products to improve customer experience. We should embrace career change and having a non-tech background, and we should stop overthinking our career choices. If you feel like you need to or want to change, be adventurous. Try out new things and experiment before you settle on a new path. The value of data and analytics has to be proven on the executive level to foster adoption of new technologies. You don't always have to have a professional setting to network. You can do it at any casual occasion, like a barbecue or in the gym. Thanks for listening. Until next time.